The Buffalo Bacon Channel is brought to you by the Blue Line team at Keller Williams, Greenville, Upstate. Hello everybody, welcome to another exciting edition of the Buffalo Bacon Channel. I am your host, Buffalo Bill.
And I'm Bacon Bit.
Today we have the pleasure of interviewing one of our local treasures, a local author named Wofford Lee Jones. Wofford, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate being here. Yeah.
So I have to admit that even though I know you're a very nice guy, you kind of scare me sometimes.
Okay.
One of the things that I noticed right away is that you love to write horror movies.
Well, that too, yeah.
Horror books. Yes. And full disclosure, the first time I ever did anything professional with Wofford was when he was a writer for the Adventures of Iguana Man.
That's right.
That was, hey, look it up on YouTube.
Yeah. Third Mind Films.
What are you doing?
Drawing an outline around the body.
But he's not dead. They just took him to the hospital.
I know, but I just got a new set of chalk and I wanted to practice.
Well, just make sure you get rid of it before we're done here. I don't want anybody thinking there was a dead body.
Just want to add a little more color.
What are you doing?
Eating donuts.
Why?
Because I'm a cop.
You don't even like donuts.
They're donut holes.
Don't start.
I like donut holes.
Hands up! Freeze! Stop right there!
They didn't stop.
George. Never mind. Rookie.
Anyway, why did you get into writing?
Well, I always tell people that I read a book, Soldierings by John Saul. That's the one book that when I finished reading it, I started asking all the questions like, oh man, how does one go from, a nugget of an idea to a 300 plus page book, and how do they develop, the story, and how do they put everything that goes into making the story concise? So it's starting to ask all these questions about how does one do this, and that just sort of led down the road of, starting stories and them not working and finding out what works and how to do it, and publishing 3 books.
So the first book that you published, Soul Dreams, which is how many pages?
686.
600. Yeah. So
why I did a 700-page book, I have no idea. It's just, but I always tell people that, well, in comparison to that, that's Off the Beaten Path is 8 stories, but it's the amount of words it takes to tell the story, and Soul Dreams just happened to be the first one that I did, and it happened to be 200,000 something words.
It was a lot of words. But it is a very in-depth story. Very in-depth story.
Yeah.
So you went from Soul Dreams to Off the Beaten Path. Now, tell us a little bit about Off the Beaten Path.
Off the Beaten Path is a collection of 8 horror stories, and each of them have their foot in various subgenres of horror. Or 7 of them. The way I wrote this one is the story is spoiler alert. But it follows the character in another incident.
Yes.
Or whatever.
So we can't give too much away.
Right.
Gotta read it.
So, but it's just a number of different stories that came to me, and they all seem to work together as far as Off the Beaten Path, like taking the dim pathways of life and choices people make, and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why the horror genre?
I've loved horror ever since I was, early teenager. I remember my mom and dad used to sell Shackley. Do y'all know Shackley products? It's like vitamins, and some of it's house cleaners.
Okay.
It's just, again. So they were into that, and So we went, my sister and I went with them to meet their sponsors when they were into it or whatever. So my sister and I were watching, we were just turning channels, and the movie Psycho was on. And it was the shower scene where she gets stabbed, and it was the black and white version. And my sister and I were horrified. We turned it off and then turned it back on, and we shouldn't be watching this, and and then
we shouldn't be watching, but we have to watch.
We have to watch. So Psycho was had a big effect on me, but also shortly thereafter, The Shining was on, and it was the whole scene where Lorian was walking through, and he gets axed by, I forget the man's name, but he was sort of like the caretaker of the
Jack Nicholson's character.
No, it was the black gentleman that.
You're the expert on this.
I'm going blank on his name. Anyway, his character gets axed by Jack Nicholson, but that whole scene was intense and all that. And I was so young and second experience with being scared, so I slapped the TV off and ran upstairs, and I was like, what? And then I went back down and continued watching it. It's like, oh man, it was toward the end anyway, so I was like, I don't know. I was just enamored with those two movies, and then I started getting into the sci-fi with tentacles, the sea creatures and octopus and Jaws and all those type of movies. So I love the sci-fi and creatures going crazy and stuff like that.
So besides the obvious of, you get people to read your stories, what tells you have a winner? Like, what would tell you, hey, that story really just came off well?
It's just your gut instinct on it. It's like, there's one thing I've learned, that being an author, whether you're independent author or like mainstream author, is everybody is not going to like your work. You're not going to get 5-star reviews across the board. And, it's just, I try to put a story out there that everybody will love, but it's just impossible to do that.
Yeah.
You just go with your gut instinct and put the ones, but I think you have to write with the audience in mind, but you have to first of all write for yourself and what you like and what you enjoy, because otherwise you're not going to enjoy the process of actually sitting down and typing it out if it's like, I think this is what the audience wants, but I'm not. It's not the core story that's wanting to come out of me.
So you have a third book. We don't have a copy of that book. Tell us a little teaser about it.
Hell Not in Hopewell actually it's about the Hopewell Sanitarium that actually existed on Beverly Drive on the other side of Greenville.
Okay. Nice local tie-in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we were before you started doing theater, I think. This was back in late 90s.
Yeah, before me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, late 90s. Shane Williman, Aaron Kluge, Kay Barber, Katie King, some of the others. It was 7 of us. It was all boarded up, and it was like no trespassing signs, but things like that call out to you, and we wanted to have a supernatural experience. So we go over there after rehearsal one night. It's 10, 11 o'clock, and we do the sliding through one of clambering through, and we sort of investigate the place, and certain things happen, and we sort of had a hell night in Hopewell ourselves, and that was, I've been mulling that around for a while, but of course our hell night was nothing compared to what happens in the real book. But
your imagination is much more intense.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But it was a fun time. But that's a doozy of a book. So
awesome.
So brace yourself, people.
Yeah. So what are you working on now?
Hopefully September 15th, or by beginning, at least by October, before Halloween gets here. I've got Lethal Doses coming your way. It's another collection of horror short stories But it's micro stories, 2 or 3 sentence horror stories, flash fiction, short stories, and then a final novella. And I wrote that one with Lee Bagwell,
Okay.
another actor and author. So,
Okay, so I got to stop you there. Micro story.
yeah.
Like, you're talking a 1-sentence horror story or
Yeah.
2 sentence. I mean, do you know one off the top of your head? Can you tell us one that, just to give an example of what this would sound like? Get all the emotions of a story just in that one.
Yeah, it's
sentence.
just the final.
I can see the last.
There was a really old one that was kind of an original that was like, I heard my mom calling me from downstairs, and as I walked out to talk to her, my mom pulled me into her room and said, "That's not me."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
okay.
also another one that reminds me where the dad's tucking the son in bed at night, and he says something about something under my bed, and he goes to look, and it's a duplicate of his son saying, "He's not the real one," or whatever, something like that. But it's just those quick things. But
Oh my!
I wish I had one like in the chamber ready that that I'm not getting tongue tied and
We sprung it on you, so that's okay.
Yeah.
So you have a website,
I do. WoffordLeeJones.com.
Wofford Lee Jones. I heard that serial killers all have 3 names. So Wofford Lee Jones. I don't know. You write horror stories.
I'll tell you where that why I added the Lee.
Okay.
So when I was getting ready to publish Soul Dreams, I was like, do I want to go by Wofford Jones or Wofford Lee Jones?
Mm-hmm.
And my wife's friend Jeanette had told me, she said, well, I always knew you as Wofford Lee Jones because on Facebook you're Wofford Lee Jones. That's how your name comes up.
Right.
And I was like, okay, a lot of people know me as Wofford Lee Jones, but then it's either she said that or Laurie, my wife said, you know, you should use Lee because my mom's maiden name was Lee, and she passed away shortly before Soul Dreams was written. So
okay.
Lee, I put that in, you know, as a
That's kind of
memoriam to my mom.
Yeah.
Since her maiden name was
I like that.
Yeah.
Is there any way people can keep up to date with the work that you put out and the things you're doing?
Oh, yeah. If you go to WoffordLeeJones.com and sign up for my newsletter, it comes out on the 3rd of every month. And along with that, on the 18th of each month, you get a free flash fiction story. And some of those will be in lethal doses, so you can get a taste of that before, or you can get your medication.
You can get your taste of your lethal dose?
Yeah. So if you sign up, you'll be getting Last Call. That's in lethal doses. That'll be out on the 18th. So,
all right. So,
yeah.
WoffordLeeJones.com. Make sure you sign up for the newsletter. Remember, this is not just an amazingly talented author who's somewhere in the world. This is a guy who's right here in Greenville. He's one of our local authors, and we'd love to support him. So, Wofford, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you, man.
And remember, if you like content like this with local authors, local places, local things, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We would absolutely love that. Thank you very much. What are your parting words of wisdom, Bacon Bit?
Stay swaggy.
See you later.
Slap the TV off.
Why? I don't even like
I went back down and continued watching it.